Hey guys, good practice today.
Man, I'm hungry.
Me too. I know just the spot. Go long. Go way longer.
Everyone knows the best route for good times and great food takes you to Whiskey River in Ankeny. Lunch, late nights, or just catching up with friends? This is your spot.
About time you guys got here.
Well, you did have a head start.
In the heart of the district, Whiskey River.
Welcome to Williams and Blum Thursday. No Wednesday show this week. Everything was bumped back a day. We will be back on our normal schedule Sunday, Wednesday, starting next week. We are presented as always by Mechdyne in the Wild Rose Casino Studios. Blum's in his home office. I am in my home office. And looking forward to today's show. We will do some more football mailbag questions for you. But first, Blum, we are going to touch on basketball. The Maui Invitational bracket is out for Iowa State, and I must be honest with you, you're going to be much better than me here. I don't know a ton about the teams that are in it yet, although I do know their reputations. I have not got into basketball mode. What do you think of Iowa State's draw? Getting Auburn in the first round.
It was going to be hard no matter what. It's an interesting philosophy of what's a success in this tournament. I would say it's winning 2 games.
Yeah, I would agree.
Going 2-1.
No matter what 2 games you win, right?
Exactly. Because you're going to have, they're being quality either way. Interestingly, I think the bracket sets up really well for Iowa State in that regard. You're almost, so here, I'll just go through the bracket real quick for those who may not be aware yet. Game 1 is on November 25th, which is a Monday. It's Memphis against defending national champion UConn. Memphis now with Tyrese Hunter, by the way. UConn going to be down. I mean, they're still UConn, though. They're back-to-back national champions. You know that Hurley's going to have them ready to go, but they lost a bunch. They lost pretty much everybody off that roster last year. Game 2 is Colorado and Michigan State.
My guy, Tad Boyle.
Yeah, Colorado now conference mate Colorado.
They're back.
They don't know a whole lot about them, but he's really good. Tad's really good. So they're
elite coach. I called that 15 years ago.
You did.
You used to make fun of me.
He's one of the longest.
Remember that Alec Burks?
Alec Burks and that other guard.
Yeah, that other guy.
Burks is still kicking in the NBA, by the way.
I thought you were going to say he's still at Colorado.
No, it feels like it. And then,
the OG Cyclone Fanatic podcast listeners will remember my fascination with Tad Boyle back in the day.
So I remember the game like it was yesterday. It was Iowa State, Colorado in the Big 12 tournament on like a Wednesday in Fred's first year. And Iowa State blew like a 10-point lead with Deontay Garrett and Uncle Jake Anderson had monster games. But Colorado won that game and actually made the tournament that year. Michigan State, not sure. It's Izzo. They always seem to have guys, but I'm going to hot take here. He has not produced in the last 5 years at all.
No, he's lost his fastball.
I agree.
That's the coach that probably struggling with this new age player, right? We've seen guys like this step away. Like Kruger was just like, it's not for me anymore. We've seen a bunch of guys do that. I feel like Izzo is of that ilk.
Yeah, and they're still recruiting okay, but it's not to the caliber, and Michigan State is just not at the NIL level as a lot of other schools. I mean, they're one of the schools that they used to have it rolling because they had their pick of guys, and now I think they've been one of the factors because some of these guys are chasing bigger dollars at, let's say, in Indiana or in Ohio State or some of those with bigger basketball dollars. So, but they'll be good. It's Michigan State. Game 3 is Iowa State. This will be a 8:00 Iowa time. 4:30 in Hawaii, and it's against a top 10 Auburn team and our old buddy Bruce Pearl. This game, interestingly, is going to be on ESPNU, C-Dub. Everything else in this tournament in the first round is on ESPN2. So they put the best game. This is the best game of the group on ESPNU, which is interesting, but it just comes down to a brand thing. You're not UConn, Michigan State, or North Carolina, and so you're slotted on ESPNU. But Auburn's really good. They're going to be, both these teams will be like 7, 8, 9, somewhere in that realm. This will be a pick'em type of game, and in my opinion, exactly what you want in game one here. And here's why. You're almost it's okay if you lose this game, I guess, is the long and short of it. It's not going to hurt you. And then even if you want to win the tournament, clearly. But what Iowa State showed when it was last year in 2019, was it 2019? Yes. Iowa State lost to Arizona in the first game and then beat Illinois and San Diego State, went 2-1. That was a really good springboard for that team. So you're better off losing that one and winning the next two than winning that one and losing the next two, I guess, is kind of the way I'm looking at it from a win-loss perspective. On the other end of the bracket, so Iowa State would play the winner or loser of this game, depending, is Dayton and North Carolina. Dayton's going to be top 25 again. North Carolina, top 10, potentially top 5. So Hubert's got them going. They lost some players, but it seems like they got some of these guys have been there a while and they'll be back. I think Baycott's finally gone, though, after his 8th year. So, but North Carolina will have some guys.
Baycott made a lot of money on that NIL.
He did.
Deal. He was the right place at the right time. Was that guy?
He's a millionaire now because of it. So, by and large, you're going to have tough games either way. I like the fact Iowa State plays at 8:00 Iowa time. I think that's good. And then should Iowa State win, it would play the next day, which is a Tuesday at 10:00 Iowa time. So it'd be a late night Tuesday. And keep in mind that week,
game watch written all over it.
Yeah, that week is going to be amazing. In that Iowa State football plays Utah on Saturday in Salt Lake. You go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in Maui. The women's basketball team plays South Carolina on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day. Iowa State will play another game on Friday. I believe it's Middle Tennessee State on that women's tournament, or that there's not really a tournament. It's like a invitational. And then Saturday, K-State, Jack Trice Stadium, which will be wild and meaningful. And then I don't know if this is confirmed yet, but that Saturday or Sunday will be the Cyhawk Wrestling Duel.
That I was just looking that up because I knew you were going here. They have not posted the wrestling schedule, but it did seem like that's when they were going to have it going forward. Felt like
I don't know it yet, but this is concerning to me, and I'm going to blame Iowa here. Iowa football plays Friday in their Black Friday game. I have heard that their goal is to maybe have that meet on a Saturday.
To keep people in town from one to the...
Yes, but what does that mean for Iowa State? You could be right at the same time as the K-State football game.
Yeah, that's a problem. Yeah, because it'll be a Big Ten network.
Why would you not put the best wrestling duel on Sunday when everybody can watch it?
In the country.
Yeah, Yeah. So, again, I don't know. It hasn't been finalized yet.
Well, it'll probably be a Big Ten network decision, ultimately.
You're right.
But they're going to be able to push one way or another.
You're right. And so maybe it's not Iowa's fault here, but there is a real-world possibility that Cyhawk Wrestling Duel is the same day as K-State, Iowa State football, which would be unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's why you take the cash from TV.
Well, and last year we were getting ready to call – it was a basketball – I was getting ready to call a basketball game watching that.
Yep.
So I wish that was still in December, the way it used to be. But
yeah,
they used to try and do it. Well, back for a while they would do it with state wrestling when it was in Ames, right? They would do it in like February, right, when state wrestling was going on. So a lot of people would go from Des Moines up to Ames. That had been a thing for a while. But
it's been around that same first or second weekend in December.
But you're right. I just hate it. I hate it when any of these sports, like my sport, NASCAR. I hate it when these niche type sports try and go head to head with football. It's just dumb. Do you want eyeballs? You're yelling at people because they don't pay enough attention. You're not going to win that war. And it sucks, because our wrestling brand in this state is amazing, but you're not going to get Iowa State fans, and most Iowa fans are watching football that Saturday. Even if they are, you'll get the diehards, but everyone else is more. This is what I hate about NCAA wrestling. It's going on during the NCAA tournament. Move everything up a month. Own the month of February. Have that be wrestling's March Madness.
Well, and then the issue is, though, if it's Sunday, you're up against the NFL, which is also
it's just a dumb.
There's no great time here.
Like NASCAR does its playoffs and championship up against the frickin' NFL. It's like it's so stupid to me. But
It's actually one decision that the PGA Tour has gotten correct is they've moved their
yeah, well,
playoffs up
because
above
it
before.
used to be the fourth major was during
Mhm.
football season,
Yeah,
which
so they've
nobody would
changed that,
watch.
which
You
is
just can't do it. It's dumb.
so that's point being, regardless of wrestling, it's a monster week, and it's all gonna kick off in Utah on that Saturday before, and into Maui and into Florida, and man, buckle up, everybody. That's gonna be quite the wild ride. So I mean, the bracket is gonna be hard. I think this is great for Iowa State. That you will find out right away what you have. And I think little insight. This was shared at a function a couple weeks ago. Um, Iowa State feels better about its. They know what they're doing this year. Not as many new guys as compared to a year ago, trying to integrate. So I do think they're gonna really try and ramp up practice a little bit earlier. In that, it's not the soft non-conference like it was a year ago. So I would say Iowa State's going to be primed and ready to go, and they need to be ready by that time because how you do in that tournament will have a big impact. Not as much as the Big 12 season, but it will have an impact on your seeding come March. And as good as I think this team is going to be, you know, 3 wins or 2 wins in Maui could be the difference between a 3 seed and a 2 seed, a 2 seed and a 1 seed, etc.
Cyclone Fanatic, Williams and Bloom, Wednesday here on your Thursday, presented as always by our friends at Gravitate Co-working. Check them out at gravitatecoworking.com. They've been with us since maybe day one of this Williams and Bloom iteration of the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network. Want to give a shout out to my friend Jeff Kelderman over at Kelderman Manufacturing. Also, our friends at Game Day Men's Health, locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines, and North Liberty if you are a Cyclone in Eastern Iowa. Bloom, I hit the scale yesterday. I'm down 25 pounds. And
Hey,
I
buddy.
owe a ton of credit to my friends over at Game Day Men's Health. It just made me feel better. People go, what's the secret? They made me feel better, and then you feel like you can work out. And then I feel like when you work out more, you feel like you shouldn't eat like crap because you're just going to ruin everything you just did in the weight room or whatever.
Psychological.
So, yeah, a lot of it is, and it comes with having energy. So Game Day Men's Health, shout out to my guy Bill, who's the owner of those, and great guy, and we appreciate his support.
Do you think it would help me hit the golf ball further?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a marketing plan right there. I'll
There
keep
you
you
go.
posted.
Bloom's Drive, pre-tee.
Pre-tee
Post
245, post-tee 280.
Couple of questions here, football heavy. This will be a shorter pod today, and then again, we're going to be back full scale.
Week
Williams
1.
and Bloom coming up week 1. We'll have Yakety Sax on Sunday, baby. Good exchange here by some of our posters on the Cyclone Fanatic premium board. $11.99 a month gets you premium access, no ads on the message board. You get premium updates from me. Bloom's always chiming in with details back there. It's a great deal if you're a diehard Cyclone fan, and it funds everything we do here at Cyclone Fanatic. If you appreciate our content, we would appreciate your subscription. How do you see the split? This is Coach Hines 3. Good poster back there. I always like what he has to say. How do you see the split and defensive scheme going this year from a 4-3 to their current 4-2-5? 50-50, 60-40. Our safeties are deep, and it will be tough to keep those guys off the field. Freeler is big enough. He could almost be a de facto linebacker. A lot of good points there. I think a lot of it will be matchup driven as far as that's the easy answer here. But to directly answer your question, I'm 50-50. I wonder. He's not lying to us when he talks about how much he likes his defensive linemen. They love the defensive line. They think they're very deep there. I also just wonder how much of it is inexperienced youth at linebacker that plays into this, and you're loaded in the secondary. And I think that, you all know the big three, but the guys behind them played so much last year.
And did well.
Matt does that cliche, but I believe he means it. The players' formations plays. You look at the players on the defense, and they're better in the front end and the far back end than they are in the middle. And it's not that they don't have talent there. It's just it's unproven talent at this point. It is untapped talent. I think Sadowski's going to be really good. I think that Cooper Ebel's going to be really good. My tag team partner, Kale Brazina, I think is going to be really good. We still haven't seen a lot from those guys. I know Caleb Bacon's going to be great, but if you do a 4-2-5, you can really use him as almost a de facto fourth lineman there. Think
Yeah, he could
pseudo
play
Von
down a
Miller,
little
Will
bit.
McDonald, that type of a player. Let's talk through that because when you play Baylor and they've switched their whole offense, I bet you're back in the dime stack the majority of that game. When you play Iowa, you're probably going to be in a 4-3. When you play Freeler's interesting. I don't know with his health if I want him lined up as a linebacker. That's an intriguing one to me. But really, any of those guys, Verdone, Cooper, like they all could play that role.
Yeah, and then
just the physicality.
J-Mo Patton's a big dude. Tashawn James can really come up and hit you. So Cam Smith's coming. Like they got Howard, Trevon Howard. So there are bodies there.
My thing, I know that they have the talent. If you watch tape last year, there were two glaring problems I thought with the defense. One, the D line. We've documented this, just not getting enough pressure with the three, and that's an issue when you're trying to play the dime stack.
Yep.
If your D line is essentially, they were stopping the run, that wasn't as big of a deal. It was the pressure thing. But two, glaringly in the first half of that year, just angles as far as tackling goes, really, really bad for a Haycock defense, and I put most of that with inexperience. A lot of those safeties were playing for the first time behind injured guys. Sadowski had never played before as a true right. There was just Bacon hadn't played much, and he got a lot better by the end of the year. Nickel had to go out there, and he really wasn't great against the run. I had a hard time with that. I guess I would chalk a lot of that up to the new guys that they were playing on that side of the ball. I'm hoping that that's cleared up. But that, again, to me, if you go, why are they doing this? I think a lot of that gets cleared up by having five safeties or five guys from the secondary on that field because of just the amount of experience that they have. Where are you at?
Yeah, well said. I'm kind of interested. I'm not concerned of what the percentage is because part of me says, well, you have been an elite defense literally for 7 years now. I mean, the one drop off 2021 wasn't great. You had some injuries there. But Iowa State has consistently been in the top 50 nationally in defense with the three down linemen, oftentimes in the top 20 since they moved this defense. So you don't necessarily want to just break something that's not broken. But on the other hand, I think the best position Iowa State has on defense is those safeties and the defensive linemen. And I am pro getting Onyedem, Singleton, and Orange in the game together as much as you can. Like those are three NFL guys that you want to get out there. And even a Kennard Snyder has played really well the last couple of weeks, and he's going to provide pressure. So you want to keep those guys on the field, but you just don't have, in order to do that, you're going to have to rearrange what you've done before. And I don't know if I want to take out a safety necessarily. So the great thing is you're doing this since the spring. Obviously, it's been working on this since the spring. And I don't know if they're ever going to say, hey, we're going to be 50-50, 60-40, whatever. It is going to be what's working that day. But I do think there's just more flexibility this year. And it's not just our identity is three down linemen, we're doing it. It's if it's not working, I think the professor will be more apt to change it pretty quickly and go to something that works. And I would say there's just overall better depth at all three levels. Linebacker's the question mark again. But I do think you'll be able to mix and match a little quicker. One thing that somebody brought up that I think is super interesting in regards to the defensive format is how does it change and with the helmet communication? Will quarterbacks be better to read that dime stack if they can communicate with their coach up until 15 seconds in? And then on the other end, Iowa State can communicate to a defensive member as well. How does that change things? So
I don't like it. I wish we didn't have that. I'm honestly for real,
all the signs, like all the
no, the purist in me, to me, again, I'm go back on my NASCAR roots. It's like I want the driver to be able to feel the tires during the race and how the track's changing, and you have to make adjustments as it goes on. And to me, it's you're a baseball guy. Let me put it with you, okay? If all of a sudden, now I know they got the pitch clock things and stuff, but if they didn't have to if the third baseman didn't have to give the steal sign to the runner on first, the third base coach, what are we doing? It's part of the game. Like, to me, it's
Yeah,
part of the game to try and steal the sign of the other team. Like, I hate it,
well,
but it is.
and
We're evolving.
that's another thing that is a really good point. I would say Iowa State, and it's not stealing because everyone can do it, was really good at interpreting signs.
Yeah, like
It's gonna be hard to
doing
do
that
that.
is
You can't really
different
do
than
that
what
anymore.
Michigan did. Yeah, like
Totally
they're
different.
not. Yeah,
We're not
I
taping
don't,
it.
whatever. I don't really care. I haven't even thought about it until
The
you brought
Well,
that up.
the thought is it's gonna quicken the pace. I mean, that's kind of the genesis. This will get rid of hopefully the 3:45 games because you're not having all these waiting around and stuff potentially. But it's gonna change. I was up at a practice last week, and they have iPads. There was a case full of iPads that you can then go now on the sideline and go be like, look at X, Y, and Z. So it will change. I think having that flexibility and being adaptable is important. And I just that's where that being multiple can really help, because if you're getting exploited on one end and people prepared for it all week, throw something else out there, it's harder to adjust in game than before the game.
That's Mug Night, or excuse me, King Sai. He has. How do you think helmet communication will change how Iowa State manages the game? Which you probably have a better idea to me. I I don't see this as like one advantage to one team over another. Like, these are all pros. I guess maybe your football IQ helps if you have
Certainly
a
can.
higher football IQ. Although I could also make the other argument, Brent, that it evens that out. If you had a team
True.
with a really good football IQ, it doesn't make them as dangerous anymore because you've got coordinators yelling in the air.
Looking at it from the top. Yeah.
So I do know this. Interesting insight when I interviewed Rocco Beck on our football summer series earlier this year. And he was very open with me, Brent, about how happy he was that Mauser was promoted. Taylor Mauser as the offensive coordinator, just because of their good communication over the years with one another. And I don't know. I'm grasping here. I have no idea if this matters, but maybe that's a plus for Iowa State, that you have that continuity on the staff. I don't know. I'm probably grasping. What do you think?
No, I mean, nobody really knows for sure. I'll share two things. Mauser and several of the offensive, all and the defensive coaches spent time in NFL camps this spring and summer trying to get a better understanding of how the communication works and best practices and all of those things. So this did not come as a surprise. Iowa State has been working on this since the end of last season, of how do you optimize the communication relay. And it stops. This is the other part. The communication has to stop at 15 seconds on the play clock. So it's not all the way up. Like you can't have your coordinator, your quarterback's coach going, "Hey, safety's coming down, check it here," because you're going to have a lot of movement from 15 seconds on in the play clock for being able to readjust. And so, yeah, IQ is still going to matter, but we'll see. It's another question mark into uncertainty. And I guess it's okay then to have a newer offensive coordinator, because it's going to be new for a lot of teams. So what worked last year is going to have to change a little bit for every team. But ultimately, I don't think it has a huge impact, because each team will find its way. And if they don't do it in week one, they'll figure out the rhythm by 2 and 3.
Good stuff. Yeah, I feel like that's an off-season story that nobody will really pay much attention to once kickoff happens.
It'll
That's
go
my
away,
feeling.
but it does help that Rocco, that's his advantage as a quarterback.
Does it help too that they have a young coaching staff?
I think so. That's the other part I was going. Yeah.
I mean,
And
just think, like, I can't imagine like Joe Paterno would have
get out the iPad and start. Yeah.
Not that he was actually coaching, but
Sure.
I don't know. I'm grasping here. I'm just thinking out loud. Mug Night, I wonder if we'll see the fourth down lineman as a stand-up hybrid offensive linebacker in some cases. Maybe Ike can be that guy. And yeah, I think Bacon
is the guy.
Bacon's that guy. Yeah.
And then Snyder's not a big guy.
I don't think that we've probably talked Easy-Agu enough in the offseason for what it's worth. He's my buy stock in low guy on that defense.
I like it. Good choice.
Because he was pretty good in his snaps last year when he It was very specialized, and I would anticipate. It feels like I don't think he's Will McDonald. Don't take it wrong, but I feel like they're using him a lot like they did Will when he was super young. I think Ezeaga he was always a guy who popped on tape for me.
Yeah, he looks the part. You just see him walking around like, oh my gosh, that's a football player. So excited to see how much he's grown. He did play quite a bit last year. Like he got some snaps towards the second part of the year, and he's only gotten better.
Iowa State 88. Who leads the team in sacks this year? That's Caleb Bacon, right?
Ooh, I'm gonna go Snyder.
Oh, okay, Kennard Snyder.
Yeah.
Nice pick.
And then with the honorable, I like on Yedem to have a big year as well.
I'm gonna go Bacon.
Bacon's a good choice.
Bacon's the value
choice.
Play because of his position. He wouldn't get as many, but I think that's the way they use him.
They'll send him a lot like that Mike Rowe. Like he'll bring a lot of that secondary pressure stuff. He's a big dude, by the way.
These are all from the same guy, Iowa State 88.
Iowa State 88 is a legend.
He's all over the boards because Blum's got to leave here before too long, so we're going short today. Which of the new uniform combinations is your favorite? I'm so out on the uniforms. I don't really know, but I would say off the top of my head, it would be the Cardinal top and the white pants. But I don't know. I do think those new, because it's less Cardinal and it seems more red to me, and I'm more of a red guy than I am Cardinal. Like those Paul Rhodes USC era seemed very Cardinal to me. And I just like the smallest amount of gold possible, the better.
You're anti-gold.
I hate the gold. I get why we have to have it, but I still don't have to like it.
I'm kind of indifferent.
Yeah.
I like them. I like the traditional Cardinal and Cardinal top, white pants. I'm good with that. I'm good with white pants, Cardinal top. Like
you're out on the
Stormtrooper thing is. I'm not a Star Wars guy. Like I
don't even know what that means.
I had the Stormtrooper.
I went to one Star Wars movie my buddy Mac made me go when I was a kid, and I think I went out and played video games halfway through it.
I did see.
I was like, Jesus, this is.
I did watch the first prequel with Natalie Portman. I think she was in it. This would have been like 98. Yeah, I've tried, guys. I've really tried with the Star Wars. I just
do your thing. I like pro wrestling and NASCAR. Okay,
I have to say, you're not one to talk here.
No, I read about aliens at night. Look, just look. I just got. Look at this. They're already here. UFO culture and why we see saucers.
What does Sarah know that we don't?
I don't know, but I'm about to find out. Who will be returning kicks and punts this year? It will be
I mentioned that.
Noel and Jalen Jackson for kicks.
Yep.
Punts will be Noel, right?
Yep.
The punt thing is, you ask any of these coaches, you got to trust the punt returner. It's why didn't Campbell put like Lazard back there and just told him to never return anything? That you that's such a scary spot to put a guy back there. You got to really trust him.
Hey, and we have seen some errors on the special teams punt catching situation. A few, actually. We've had a few of those in the Iowa State era. Speaking of special teams, little nugget. You remember Jace Gilbert, the old kicker?
Would love it. Yeah.
He is working a little bit on being like the pooch punter, the short punter, and he's been really good. So one thing that I really appreciate about the Matt Campbell program is they try and use every single guy on the roster to do something.
Yeah, keep him engaged.
Jace has probably not going to be the kicker because Conrarty's been so good. And then Shackford's actually been pretty good and might even be the backup kicker, honestly. But Gilbert's been working as the punter and really specialty in that, that short punting game of pinning inside the 10-yard line. So do not be surprised if you see him out there.
I want to thank our friends from the Ivy College of Business at Iowa State. Get that online MBA if you've been thinking about it.
We had a good match. I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but the Ivy College of Business announced that Mechdyne became one of the premier Ivy Sales Forum sponsors.
Boom.
So they had Clover up there.
Very
Mechdyne
cool.
now. So that what comes with an IB sales form is they're training the next wave of sales talent, and these companies like Mechdyne will present an actual case study from their company that the kids, I'll call them kids, the students will work on for solutions in regards to sales and sales techniques.
Very cool. Iowa Clinic Men's Center, we thank them for their sponsorship. Just all the great Iowa Clinic options. They've been one of our premier sponsors here at Cyclone Fanatic since the inception of this thing. Cyclone Fanatic wouldn't be here without them. I promise you that. Back in some lean days, they were supporting us financially, and we couldn't appreciate them more. I go to them for everything. Sent the daughter to urgent care last week. Just pull that bad boy up, and you can see in West Des Moines, Ankeny, the waiting times for all of them. It's so cool. It's super convenient. Pop them right over there to Ankeny. Got her in. Little ear infection. We took care of it right away. Iowa Clinic. Check them out at iowaclinic.com. Get your referrals for anything you need. They got it all. That Westlake campus is unbelievable, too. They got everything down there. Okay. The final question here, and this is the most important one. Inkamania. Who is the better softball coach, Williams or Matt Campbell? Well, it's interesting you ask. It's at the back-to-school night last night in Bondurant. A lot of championship players there walking around with their big rings from the Turtles organization. We're still pretty amped up. My little pitcher got to be in Cammie's class. They were celebrating. They're going to wear green on their first day of school. Turtle power. And I will, God's honest truth, this is not name dropping, but Matt Campbell and I, when we talk, same with John Haycock, we rarely talk about Iowa State. It is about Little League softball. And because Matt coached his Little League, his little girl when she's not a little girl anymore, but when she was. And he would tell me all about it. And now that I'm doing it, I tell him all about it. And when we won the championship this year, I got in my truck and I called Matt Campbell because I was just ecstatic. And I knew he's like one of the only guys who would get like the feeling that I had watching this team grow. And I've told him, I was like, I get what you say about the process and all that stuff now, because it's like, it's cool. So Matt Campbell's a better coach than me, but I like to think I can hold my own with 9-year-olds.
Did I miss the parade? I didn't.
Yeah, they didn't give us a parade.
I mean, I was ready to go to Reclaim Rails and throw back.
We did have the coaches appreciation night at Reclaim Rails, where I was told by the league director that according to his records over the last 10 years, Turtles winning the championship was the biggest upset in league history. We were 3-14. Incredible.
I would have. You know what? I'll still tip back a few Ames Loggers for you in your championship. No,
absolutely,
we'll do that for you.
How's real quick for next week on that? Where's the Ames Logger availability?
Yeah.
How are we doing on all that? Because I know we're going to get asked.
Please prepare now. It's going to be pretty much everywhere, guys. Specifically in Central Iowa. So all your Hy-Vees, all your fairways.
Okay, so stock up. If I know anything, stock up and buy extra, because you just don't know week to week.
And honestly, if you can't find it and you're coming to the game, Cyclone Liquors is almost guaranteed to have it. They're great partners of ours. So that
they've always had it when I go.
Yep, that Hy-Vee right there in that what is that area called? You know where I'm at, the East Hy-Vee, I call it.
East Hy-Vee, yeah.
Yep. So that East Hy-Vee and the Cyclone Liquors will guarantee to have
Hobby
it.
Lobby, that area.
Yep, that Hobby Lobby area, which is your favorite store. Actually, I think coming up, we're working on a deal with that Hy-Vee where you can get, if you get a burger there, like a Wahlburger, they're going to send like $1 to the collective, and if you get a burger and a beer, they're going to send $2. So be on the lookout there. But no, please buy the Ames Logger. It's really helped. They have plenty more available this year, and I cannot wait to be roaming the lots and seeing all the good stuff out there, and really help our friends from.
Could you do me a favor this year?
Yeah.
Can you take it easy during the day so you're awake when I get done working at night?
I'm going to be better about pacing myself.
It's embarrassing.
Well, it's a long day. When you start at 9 and you don't get done till midnight, I'm in bed. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that's when I'm ready to party.
I know. You got to, I mean, when you're hanging out on the Amish bench.
Bill, our guy Bill's the only one who's ever up from your group.
And well, Bill's a legend. Like, I can't keep up with Bill. So I need
Steve Kemp is always still awake. Main man Charlie McKenna is usually still around.
Our guy Scott.
Yeah, Chromeball is always
He's there.
Chromeball can just drink for 48 straight hours and never
He's
stop.
incredible. Incredible stamina out of that guy.
Yeah, I'm like, I mean, it's all. I always know who the true ride or dies are when I come back to my camper, and there's usually 3 or 4 people sitting around a fire, and they got a ice cold Ames Lager waiting on me. Those are, and you've never been one of them.
Well, I get
Brandon
tired.
Cooper, he's one of them.
Coop.
Ryan Hillary's the same way though. He's just like you. He goes so freaking hard during the day. He's like passed out by 9 o'clock.
I'm just old. But no, we will have a tailgate spot, and come on by and say hi. 704, everybody. Everyone's welcome.
Man, you're just giving that out.
I'll give it out. That's what we're here for.
I moved my tailgate spot last year just to avoid you people. I'm kidding. Stop.
No, you're not.
No, I used to. True story. I used to be in the 100s.
And people were like, "Hey, William."
Well, like our listeners and stuff is great. I stop by. I'm just giving you guys shit. The problem was we were like the first one. So people would come like right off the bridge and from the haunted forest, and it's 7 o'clock in the morning, like knocking on our camper door. And I got little kids in there. I don't mind when people come by, but I had to be a little more isolated back into I just didn't want to be like the main event when you walk up to the thing. You know what I'm saying?
You gotcha.
That would have been a good spot for the We Will tent, though.
Yeah, we had fun last year. We're gonna kind of run it back with some of the same.
Just calm down, though. Is all I'm asking you. Save a little bit.
I'm a lightweight. Like I'm only 5'7".
You got to get some of you got to call Matt up at Westo and be like, hey, can you just put a little less lead in this Ames Lager for me individually?
Maybe, or I could just be an
just
adult
so I can pace it.
Maybe I should just mix in a water. I could probably do that.
Yeah, that would be
own.
a genius move.
But people start coming over, and then sometimes they'll bring a shot. Like our guy Shawnee Jenks brought him a Lort, and that was terrible. Don't ever do that again, Sean.
Who's the guys there in the lot? They came to LeClaire last week, and they got that little cart. They drive that little cart around, and they just they literally every game, after every game, when they're not passed out, they will drive that cart over and make me do a shot of Cody Road every time.
Our buddies from Eastern Iowa over there. So, man, I'm excited to see my friends, the Shawls and the Francises. Oh, I'm ready to go. We're going to meet some new friends.
Mark and Tina Hansen are right in that area. I always like seeing them. That's always fun.
Yep, my guy.
Steve Kemp will have like a castle built there for his tailgate, like he always does.
I think our guy Adam Batchelor is going to be nearby this year too.
Oh, the Batchman, eh?
Batchman, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Good times.
Hey
we're,
guys,
we're very blessed to
9 days away. Yeah.
Very blessed to have you all as friends. So thank you. We don't take it for granted. We do want you to support our great sponsors, Mechdyne, MECHDYNE.com. Go buy yourself a bottle of Cody Road. Pick up a case of that Ames Lager. Stop on by if you're going to be running through Jefferson on the way, right on the way to Ames. Play a little slot machine there for our friends at Wild Rose Casino. Responsibly, of course. He's Brent Blum. Short one today. We'll be back on Sunday. Sunday pod in season. Yakety Sax coming up here on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.